Hi everyone, let's discuss some JavaScript tips a developer should follow. So coming to the first tip, we should use let and const instead of var. Okay, so why we should use let and const? Because let and const are block scoped. Okay, let and const are block scoped, and var is function scoped. Okay, which can cause unexpected bugs. So const is also a great place for declaring constants that should not change. Okay, so we should follow let and const because they are block scoped. Okay, so now let's see one example. So if true, suppose we have declared let x is equals to 10, const y is equals to 20, and where z is equals to 30. Okay, and we print all these outside the loop y and z. Okay, so in this case x and y both will give the reference error. Okay, this will be a reference error, and y will give the reference error. But in this case, z will print the output as 30. Okay, so we must use let and const because this z is accessible outside the curly braces also. Okay, because this is function scoped, and let and const they give reference error. They will not be accessible outside the curly braces because let and const are block scoped. Okay, because block scope means they are accessible inside the block only. Okay, so to keep our code predictable, we must use let and const instead of var. Okay, so this is the first tip. Okay, now coming to the second one. So we must use arrow functions. Okay, why we should use arrow functions? Okay, because arrow functions do not bind their own this. Okay, so it makes them perfect for callbacks and functional programming. Okay, so let's see it with example. Comment this code. Let's say we have a function, let's say that greet we can say. Okay, so it's to name. Okay, hello, then name. Okay, so if we print this console greet, okay, we can pass the name here, that is Kashish. Okay, so in this case we will get the output as hello Kashish. Okay, so this arrow functions makes our code more concise and it eliminates the this binding issues. Okay, so we haven't used this here. Okay, so it has eliminated that. Okay, so for this case we use arrow functions. Now coming to the third tip, we must use the template literals. Okay, to simplify the string operations. Okay, so in our previous example, okay, so this is the example of template literal name. Okay, so template literals, it allows us to embed variables and expressions inside the strings easily. Okay, so now in the next tip we must use triple equals to. Okay, for comparisons, triple equals to and not equals to. Okay, for comparisons. Okay. Why? Because it will ensure type safe comparisons, preventing the unexpected behavior due to type coercion. Okay. So let's see it with some code. Console 0 is equals to false, 0 equals to false. Okay, if we do console for this one, the first one will give true. Okay, but it should be false. Okay, because it is not checking the type. It is of boolean and it is of number. So that's why it is giving us true. So the second one is checking the type also, but type is not same. That's why it is giving false. Okay, so to avoid these things, we must use triple is equals to operator instead of double equals to. Now coming to fifth tip. Okay, so we must use default function parameters. Okay, let's see it with example. Comment this code. Let's say we have a function. Right. Okay, name, we can pass name here. Name is equals to, let's say, user any. Okay, so it will return hello, then username. Okay, and from outside we can call the function. Let's say we are calling greet. Okay, so if we pass the parameter as let's say Kashish, then it will print hello Kashish. Okay, otherwise if we are not passing, then it will print hello user. Okay, so that's why we use default function parameters. This is the default function parameters. Okay, so it prevents the functions from breaking if a required parameter is missing. Okay, so if we do not pass it, okay, if we remove it, then it will give some error. So to prevent that error, we are using default function parameters. Okay, so now coming to the next step, use destructuring. Okay, so we should use destructuring to access objects or array properties more easily. Okay, so destructuring, it also simplifies our code. So why we use destructuring? To access object or array properties more easily. Okay, using destructuring syntax. Let's see it with code. Let's say we have a user and having name as Kashish. Okay, age as let's say 32. Okay, so to access this, we can use destructuring. This is the destructuring format, name, comma key. These two key values equals to user. Okay, so if we print console name and age, okay, so in this case, what it will print? It will print name as Kashish, okay, and will print age as 32. Okay, so using destructuring, we can access the data more quick. Okay, so now the next step is we must use map filter and reduce. Okay, array map, filter, and filter reduce. Okay, why we should use this? Because using this, our actual array will not be affected. Okay, so to reduce the side effects, we must use map, filter, and reduce. Okay, so let's check with example. Let's see the example of map method in arrays. Let's say we have a numbers array. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we want to do the square of these numbers. So array dot map num num star num multiply num. So it will give the square. Now if we print the numbers array or squares array, it will print 2, sorry, 1, 4, and 9. Okay, it will give the new array 1, 4, 9, and the original array will not be affected. Okay, that's why we use map method. Okay, now coming to the next step. So we must use debouncing or throttling. Okay, so why should we should use? Because it will ensure the functions runs only after a pause. Okay, for in case of debouncing. Okay, so debouncing ensures the function runs only after a pause. Like in case of search bars, we use debouncing. And throttling, why we use? Because it ensures the function runs at the intervals. Okay, like if we change the size of the any box or screen size, okay, in that case we use throttling. So all these concepts I have explained in my JavaScript videos. You can go through that. Debouncing and throttling I have explained there. And coming to the next step, okay, we must avoid mutating objects and arrays directly. Avoid mutating objects, arrays directly. Okay, so we should use the spread operator. Okay, because it will not affect the original object or array. Let's see it with code. Let's say we have a numbers array and we want to make copy of it. So we will use const copy is equals to, now we will use spread operator, original or numbers. Okay, and suppose if we want to add 4 in it, we can write 4. Okay, so in this way, if we console it, it will give 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if we print the numbers here, it will not be affected. It will give 1, 2, 3. Now the copy will print 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we must use spread operators or object.assign to create new copies. Okay, and the next step, last tip is we should use try catch. Okay, we should use try catch. Why? For the error handlings. Okay, okay, so we must always wrap our code in try catch blocks to ensure that app does not crash when error occurs.